a good day. There's certainly some bright spots. I thought we threw the ball deep well, even though it was inside. Josh, we've always known he's got a good arm strength. I thought he and Tanner connected with a couple deep balls today that were touchdowns. Of course, that always concerns you about the defensive backs, but nonetheless, they put the ball in the money. I think we need to work on our completion percentage and the short passing game, but the deep balls are going fairly well. I thought our defensive line had some good pressure today. That can be a double-edged sword. You look at, okay, is that the offensive line? But I do think we've got some good edge pressure, which is going to be really helpful. A couple of things. I think Brian continues to really go out and excel and challenge himself to become better and better all the time, so I was encouraged about that. And I think you're seeing some good things out of Zach Wallace at the left tackle spot. So this time, any questions?
I know it's just 3 practices. Mm-hmm. Is there any separation at quarterback yet, or is it just still too early to see that?
I think it's too early. That there's going to be a body of work that we're looking at, and we're mixing the guys. They're going from the first group to the second group, and so we're charting everything. One guy will have a better day than the others, but we'll continue to take a look at some things. I think that both guys are competition brings out the best in you, and both guys are competing.
What about the switch with Wallace and Cummings? How is that progressing?
We think well. The combination of Zach on the left side really helps us in some of our 5-step game out of a pro-style sets. And then along with that, just he and Chase on that side and Ryan and Caden. Caden did get nicked up today. He did not finish practice. Caden Jackson. I think he'll be okay. The trainers gave me an indication that he was fine, but had some lack of strength in his knee, so we kind of took a cautious approach there. But outside of that, I think we came through it fairly well as far as health. But getting back to your question, we like – that was a good move. Sometimes you make them and it doesn't work, but I think it was a good move.
Are there any kind of glaring concerns after just 3 days of 3 practices? Are there any concerns you have right now going into week 2?
I going into week 2, but I'm concerned about our completion percentage. Just understanding, in the West Coast offense, you need to have your completion percentage needs to be above 60%. When it's 11 on 11, we're not there yet, so that's a concern. A little bit concerned about the defensive tackle position, just our strength and depth. We're going to continue to work with those guys, and we've isolated some drills just to try to get those guys better. Both Johanna and Connor are mixing it up, and they're a little bit light in the britches right now, and we're going to need to continue to work with those guys. But I'm concerned there.
Looking ahead to week 2, just a lot of the same, more installation, obviously teaching. Anything different, or just a lot of the same for
some more installation. There'll be some maybe more competitive drills. There will be a day, we're following the protocol with number of practices that you have where you have full tackling the ground. We didn't do that today, but we may integrate a drill or 2 where next week because I think it's important beyond just being in the right spot, what guys can tackle and which ones can't. And certainly you can improve that, but some of it is identifying which guys can tackle. So we'll probably do something like that sometime next week. It'll be pads, same schedule, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Aside from Caden, Craig, other than the guys you knew were going to be limited or out this spring, any new injuries, or is everything?
Austin Fort not complete today. He had I believe a pulled either hamstring or groin, but he had a pull. He didn't complete it. Hopefully it's nothing that's severe. He was showing good signs of that transition to the tight end, and so it'll be important for him to get out there. But outside of that, those are the only 2 that were pulled.
Do you notice anything kind of different with this group in full pads for the first time?
Well, there was a lot of spirited there was a good upbeat tempo, and we repped a lot of plays, and some guys were tired, but I think the want to is there, and certainly we're further along as far as our understanding of what we're doing, and so we like the progress that we're making. We look like a more confident football team. However, we're still young, and some of those guys are still making some young mistakes, but we're certainly more experienced than we have been, and that's showing with our aggressiveness.